It's not exactly TikTok because TikTok is still kind of trying to get you 4 hours pulled in, right?
First of all, you need to have marketing people that really live and breathe TikTok.
LLM integrated into a game could be really an enhancement, like I'm talking to the character directly.
Whenever we increase the session times, where you have some sort of live of the event, where you need to commit a little bit of time, immediately the retention went down.
How TikTok has influenced game development, basically.
Welcome to Let's Talk Ads. We're here to push your growth, marketing tips, fun and chats. Tune in, let's rock the show.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Ads. My name is Andre. I'm the CEO of Admiral Media, and I'm interviewing amazing folks from the marketing or app industry mostly about all things marketing and growth, obviously. Today we are talking about all things gaming, and with me is Manuel from Colossi Games. Manuel is a crazy industry veteran, I would say. In the business since, 15 years or something. Founded already 2 publishing gaming studios. Super curious to hear more about this. And today we wanted to discuss how basically gaming has evolved with TikTok coming into place. And this also in maybe a little bit in correlation with AI. So how does that influence game development? How does it influence ads and creators, obviously? But Manuel, happy to have you here. Let's have a nice chat today.
Thanks for having me. Hi, Andre. Nice to see you finally, face to face. Not only on all of popular social media platforms.
Yeah, we were chatting on LinkedIn a little bit back and forth, and then I saw some interesting posts from you lately, and this is what I used as a hook to get you into the pod.
Yeah. It has been like 20 years already in the gaming industry. Before smartphones even existed.
Were you one of the Java dudes?
No. I'm a late starter on that one. I started actually like PC MMOs. At Caesars of Brighton, where Guild Wars was my first project, where I was like in customer service and leading the customer service team there, and moving onwards. Then I think I entered like the mobile industry in itself only like in 2015, 16-ish.
Okay,
so
10 years ago.
That one only like 10 years, right? So I was kind of a late starter compared to some of your audience probably. But yeah, then it's fast lane and go, right?
Yeah, 10 years, you've seen a couple of things in the gaming industry, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You founded Colossi Games like 5 years ago or something?
Yeah,
right?
5 years ago. Mm-hmm.
With a very successful title. What was it called again?
Gladiator Survival.
Yes, exactly. Gladiators.
Yeah, Gladiator Survival is like the biggest title. I mean, that was our debut title as well. So the idea behind it back then, when we made the studio, was let's aside from doing it with my brother's wife, I co-founded the studio, and we got some other very talented folks in. Gladiator 2, the movie, was supposed to come into cinemas in 22. Well, as you remember, it actually only came in 24 because there was a writer's strike, there was COVID, there was so many different things, right? So all of that didn't quite pan out. And in the meantime, we released 3 games actually, like a Gladiator game, then a samurai game, and a Viking game. And all of them being action RPGs and different business models and different, ways how to build them and stuff like this. That's what we did.
Was it still like, let's say, traditional, an exercise of traditional gaming development, let's say, from the concept and everything? What is it exactly? Like, what type of game is it? What type of users do you typically have?
So the typical audience is like 35 plus. On these titles, predominantly male. Obviously, like Gladiators and Vikings. I mean, that's a little bit more
Yeah, okay.
battle themed, right?
Mm.
But generally, yeah, you move your figurine through the game world, through an open world. Basically, you chop the trees and craft your weapons, fight enemies. The classic experience that you also would have on a PC or on a console, you
Mhm.
would have on your phone as well, right? I mean, some people
So
use their phone as the replacement instead of having an actual physical PC in their office room, if they have an office room even in the house, right?
can you share? I mean, you won a couple of awards with Google Play and everything,
Yeah,
right? So it was a very successful title, actually. Can you share any numbers, like what volumes of downloads or users you've reached?
yeah, sure. So in terms of like critically acclaimed, I think the first one was like Google Play Indie Games Festival 21 or so. That was like pre-release even.
Mhm.
Then we were like in the top 10, and then it won Best of Google 22. The Samurai won Best of 23. All in honorable mentions. There's different independent publishing teams in the world in the Google organization that nominate titles that they see, have a lot of resonance in their markets. So they nominate there. So you cannot buy them. uh,
Unfortunately, yeah.
like
Or maybe
like
fortunately,
others.
actually.
Yeah. So I think Gladius in total has, or yeah, I think it has like around 7 million, 8 million in 3 years.
Oh, wow.
In terms of installs, and more than 80% were organic, like non-paid ads, and about like 2.5 million revenue. So it is a good small medium sized business basically, right?
Nice.
And the good thing about it is we do not have to wait until the revenue comes.
Yeah.
Like many studios nowadays in the mobile sector, they have like day 180, day 365 payback times. We do everything like day 30. That's like what we can calculate with. And we probably leave some profits on the street, having this relatively aggressive approach when it comes to ROAS. But it makes money, right? That's the key of a business. It's like,
Yeah, that's why we're doing all this. I mean, of course, we
yeah,
enjoy somehow the category we're working in, but
yeah.
at the end of the day, we want to make money, right?
Other than the
Um,
euros on the bank account, everything is vanity, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
How is that when you say like you're focusing on the day 30 return? Like, can you describe this a little bit? What are you doing there?
So when we do paid ads, then we basically define, like nowadays everything is margin bidding, right? Like back in the glory days, let's put it this way, there were a lot of inefficiencies in between the ad networks, and through the waterfall, when you do advertisement, you start from the top and bidding downwards, and everything where the ad network would then jump in and say, I want this user to show an ad to them. Um, that's your margin, that in between, like how much you bid and how much the ad network is buying it from, and stuff like that. And nowadays we have it the other way around. With header bidding, everything starts from the bottom. Sort of the networks bid as low as possible, and a loss basically in an auction is a signal that next time for this user I need to bid higher, but it always starts at a low point. Um, Contrary to the previous model. So that inefficiency is gone. It's basically gone since 3 years approximately, when header bidding really, took the crown basically. We live basically in an age where creativity is a little bit on the back foot, I would say. And the ad networks basically determine what your success will be. So you need to play a little bit at the whims of the ad networks, at how do they, present the ads to the users and stuff like this, if you really want to scale. And if you don't want to do that, if you want to go more organic, obviously ASO is still there, not as big anymore as it used to be. Let's see what Apple is now rolling out. A new version of the App Store will come with the new game centric App Store. I'm super curious about that. And obviously, the age of AI, right? Like, how do all these chat assistants that will possibly at some point be the number one driver of search traffic, how will they index traffic, products? How will they, affiliate? I don't know.
I guess it's way more when we talk about AI and LLM integration. I guess it would be way more interesting to me, like how this will influence game development, because I could imagine LLM integrated into a game could be really an enhancement. Like I'm talking to the character directly, I get an immediate response. Maybe I'm even designing the levels or something like that on the go, right? Where I'm envisioning with my own fantasy how when I'm opening the door, what's behind that door. Maybe I'm influencing this with my input in the LLM. I'm super curious about this development. But we lost a little bit track. I was asking,
sorry.
you focusing on the day 30 return. So my understanding is you make revenue until day 30, and then you stop making revenue with that user? Or did you mean you're bidding and optimizing towards day 30 return and ignore a little bit what's happening afterwards?
Yeah, no, basically exactly what you just described. Like
last one, okay.
100% ROAS to day 30. So the LTV of day 30 is basically the CPI bid, right?
Got it.
Essentially,
understood. All right.
And then everything beyond day 30 is then our profit.
Okay, perfect. When it comes to the nature of advertising in gaming, like there are so many ad networks and everything out there. Is there some recommendation you would give to new developers that don't have this success yet, like what to focus on which network or something like that? Where should they go first? How should they approach that network? How much should they invest in creative?
Right. The number one thing that I always would recommend is very early, even in the development stage, sometimes even pre-development, you can do things. Nowadays, you can generate anything with AI, basically, right? You like at least as a still image, and you can run a static campaign on Facebook to see what is the CTR, what is the initial reaction of your potential audience, and how quick can Facebook actually distribute your testing budget. So let's say you just test for €50 per day for 3 days and see, does the spend hold up? Is the CPI reasonable, and is the IPM if you are already at the launch stage, or the upper funnel, when you drive it down, is that within the norm? Let's put it this way. You cannot expect leeway, because you will not have leeway in the open market either. So you need to test against the benchmarks basically that are out there. Benchmarks are aplenty. Every network has their benchmark reports, etc. Just and MMPs as well, and they are very helpful to to dissect. Look at the top 25% of game studios. That's your goal, right? That's your benchmark where you need to be. So Facebook first, to see, does the audience fast enough, and Facebook is really good at this, fast enough respond to my ads. And then when you launch into soft launch, you need to have one video ad network, Facebook still for further creative optimization, and you need to have Google Ads. Google Ads has the biggest inventory. It has the broadest audience channels that it can target. The retention of Google Ads will always be lower than on video ad networks, because in Google Ads you don't have these super high intent users, but on video ad networks you can showcase all the beauty of your app, or you can steer basically what kind of users you kind of want to have. And then video ad networks, well, there's one king right now, which is AppLovin. I think they have like 70% or so market share. Some say 80% even, right?
Love-hate relationship with the industry right now.
Absolutely, yeah. They have the industry in a chokehold right now, and let's see how much more interesting lead out methods they will invent. But at the same time, I'm always very bullish on Unity ads. Firstly, you can dictate your own CPI, right? You can cap your CPI very, very easily. You can do all kinds of the setup is really easy in Unity ads. And also, I think for the future, first of all, they invent now this vector thing, and it's getting there. It's like there's some pace visible, but also I think the Unity, because it's the primary engine maker. I think like 70% of projects on mobile are like Unity made. They have telemetry data from that, right? So how do devices behave? Do they crash? What is all this kind of, what is that device even? Screen size, region, operator, etc. All of that technical telemetry data goes to Google as well, to Unity as well, through the engine. And once they combine that, I think they have a very, very good rival product. As opposed to, well, you always need to have first-party stuff, right? Now we live in this age of privacy, and so anyhow, video ad network, you need to have that, and I would recommend one of these two. There's, of course, others that are stronger in other markets. Yeah, Mintegral is very strong in Asia, and in the low ECPM regions. And then you have a couple of others that obviously are also pretty good.
Got it. We have a starting point, I would say. So good go-to places, I would say. I totally agree with what you said. Haven't seen much difference across the industry. Good recommendation to look at the benchmarks, which you can pull from all the providers out there. So that's definitely a good recommendation. One last question about your success as well with the best rewards from Google and so on. What can you tell young game developers? Like, what should they focus on to get at least a chance to get listed on such awards or get nominated on such awards? Like, is it the design of the game? Is it the level design? Is it the money that it makes? What's important here from your outsider perspective? Because they don't disclose really why you got nominated, right?
Yeah, you can only guess. I don't think revenue plays a big role, nor does ad spend or something like this. It's really just more like, how unique is your app in terms of, does it for a theme or for some genre have some sort of innovation or a very high quality standard? Is it crash free? Is it all these kind of quality metrics? I think that's where they look at. So I have a hard time imagining that another candy graphically styled merge game will ever win one of these awards. But if there is a little bit, more innovation in that, maybe.
Okay. But originality, let's say.
Yeah. 100%.
Got you. Now let's talk about innovation. Let's go to the actual topic of the pod. How TikTok has influenced game development, basically.
Yeah.
Manuel, you created a new gaming studio, even. As far as I understood from our talks before, is you wanted to split a little bit your traditional game development studio from the new. It's probably still experimental, I would guess. What is that? Tell us. What is the gaming studio? What game have you done? What's the difference here?
So when we realized after COVID that people do not play as much anymore in a row, we really took some time.
You mean like in long sessions?
Yeah, in long sessions. Yeah, like 30 minutes plus, basically. Really, the time that you would commit to some serial on Netflix or something, right? That's that gaming time, and that's where we compete. It's like you don't compete that much against other games. You compete more against the entertainment budget that you and your wife and your mom, etc., have, right? Like it's and that entertainment budget can be filled by traditional TV. It can be filled by Netflix, by YouTube, and TikTok, and that's where we originally started, communicating about that. When I started in the games industry, MMOs were the king of the gaming industry. It had everything, especially like the social connection, etc. And gaming was a lifestyle, a committed lifestyle. People spent many hours in these games. Every evening, they would be like 3-4 hours playing with their guildmates, do the raids, do the PvP, and all of that stuff. I think
Monkey Island.
or play through an entire adventure. Shout out to, is the Delic still alive? I'm not quite sure if they. But they also had these the point and click adventures. Yeah. So you had this commitment to gaming as a lifestyle, as an every evening activity. And nowadays it became so mass market. You still have a few of these people, but these guys have kids. They have more sophisticated and more stressful jobs, probably work longer hours. The life is just changing. You now have your own garden to tend to, etc. So the entertainment budget goes down, and the commitment to one game and to one form of entertainment has really decreased. What is really like a very, very big game changer here was the advent of TikTok. TikTok, with its recommendation engine, is dopamine proliferation purely, right? It's like it figures out so quickly what you kind of want to be entertained with that you get hooked, and every 30 seconds, bam, 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 next. I want to see what's next in my entertainment here. So you still have the same sort of entertainment hours, but they are now fractionalized. And you, as a user, can stop at any time. You can put down the phone and then pick it up again and keep going. You cannot do that in an MMO. You cannot do that anymore with these RPGs that we did in Colossi Games. We really saw this inverse correlation. Whenever we increased the session times, where you have some sort of live ops event where you need to commit a little bit of time, immediately the retention went down in in a perfectly inverse relationship, right? And so we thought about that and was like, okay, we need to tackle a different game genre. This is not the right team that we had in Colossi. With that, we need to build a new team that understands what we are building next, and why we are doing that. And that's the birth of Mirror Magic, and now in soft launch the project Night Hunt.
Night Hunt.
Night Hunt.
How long is it live? Yeah. How
long
is it live?
It's live now, about a month, bit more than a month.
Okay.
In soft launch.
And the first metrics are?
We are very happy about the metrics in the US. 48% day one retention, and day 7 is also 12% plus. So that's pretty good numbers. Good numbers. Now it's just content, live ops development. We are in soft launch, right? We are like bootstrapped with 5 people. So we need to now that we have proof of the market, and that's what I said earlier, we did the testing on the Facebook, we did some Google ads, we did some Unity ads to see, okay, what is the reaction? Is our trailer good, right? Trailer is next to the icon, is the biggest asset that any mobile app needs to have nailed down. And the best thing about trailer testing is make a Facebook campaign, check the IPM, and if it's above 12, 13, then you have a pretty good trailer already.
Mm-hmm. What are the main differences when you compare the games that you've developed before versus Night Hunt? Like, is there a very different principle in how the user interacts with a game, or does it have a different reward system? Like, how would you describe it?
Yeah, before so in a classic RPG, you steer your character and do certain tasks. You have like quests in the game and achievements that take a little bit of time, because you have this travel time until you are at the next tree to chop it down, to bring that to an NPC, to smither some spear out of it, and then to seek out the bandit leader. Yeah, and then you get a few gold coins as a reward. Repeat. So that's kind of the RPG principle, and all of that can be condensed down into basically what we know from tower defense games or roguelike games, you reset the session all the time. You make the game as idle as possible and have a few strategic decisions that you would make in an RPG. Do I want to, kill this monster now, or do I want to befriend that NPC or something like this? You make these sort of strategical on an abstract level decisions as well. But here in our game, you basically just choose, do I want to increase the power of my crossbow, or do I want to, rain down ice lances from the sky? So 10 taps basically per level. The level is only 3 minutes long. You can even speed that up. And then you have the same reward that you would have in an RPG. After 10 minutes, you have it here under 3 minutes, basically. But you also have, for that strategic choice, you can offer an interstitial or rewarded ads, for example, to change your decision. In an RPG, that's pretty hard to replicate that in the game world. And then when you have the reward, you can very quickly double it up with an ad monetized placement. In an RPG, it kind of breaks immersion, right? So there you would rather turn. Here you would be like, yeah, okay, I just double it up. I know exactly what I can get. And then on I am to the next stage that I want to pass.
So my experience, for example, as a user, when I'm in some app, I suddenly get messages in an email and whatever, then Slack, WhatsApp, and I get distracted. So when I would be committed to a 30-minute session because the quest is just taking so long and I can't press pause because it's maybe an online real-time game whatsoever, this is very difficult to manage, right? So you have to really focus on that game.
Yeah.
You basically offer a solution where you say, okay, you play short levels, 3 minutes, and then I can jump back to my TikTok, Snap, whatever, chat with my friends, and then again come back if I want to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or like if you have like a day in between, right? Like you are gaming today, and then tomorrow is your mother's birthday, and then so you can only come back in 2 days. In a normal RPG, in an open world, you're like, oh, where was I? Where do I pick up again? How did that mechanic work again to craft that weapon? What was all of that? And now in this chunk-sized entertainment, you just jump into the next level, which is like, with a limited set of interactions. It's much easier to just relax and play.
Yeah, absolutely. Reminds me a little bit of my Monkey Island experience, to be honest. Like, playing hours long and then next day trying to remember, where did I go there already? Did I find this rubber duck? And
Let's be honest, back then we had pen and paper next to it and wrote down all these things.
Good old days. I could play again now. Like, fuck. So, okay, but I understand the principle of your game design basically has shifted from, let's say, come in and stay as long as possible in the game to come back as often as possible.
Correct. Yeah,
this is basically the core principle here. Okay, I understand. I mean, it's not exactly TikTok, because this is TikTok is still kind of trying to get you 4 hours pulled in, right?
But the key thing is, like in our game, you can also stay 4 hours, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But you can make interruptions every 3 minutes, essentially. You can even like resume play inside one level. And TikTok also like evolves, right? Like at first there was a hard cap on 30 seconds or so. The videos could be long. Now they can be way longer, and they most recently introduced, I think, basically stories, reels, into their stuff as well, to encourage daily posting or posting as often as possible, to funnel a little bit more the creator commitment basically to the platform. And obviously, if you're on TikTok now, you kind of want to use that, because TikTok has quite a reputation of rewarding those that use their new features. So anyone who's doing TikTok advertisement or as an influencer probably needs to look at these stories now. I don't know how they are called exactly, but it's, again, short form content, but unique content.
Understand. Are you doing a lot of paid ads now? Because you mentioned
not on TikTok.
Okay.
Because TikTok also requires this. No, I mean, we did it, but Here's the thing. First of all, you need to have marketing people that really live and breathe TikTok, that knows the trend, that know what cappuccino brain rot is, and stuff like that, and to play around with that without feeling obnoxious, right? With still having a genuine UGC, much like you would approach Reddit ads, for example. People need to believe this is real, this is your real opinion, even though you're communicating as a company. Whereas the other ones are more like, I'm okay. This is an ad network. I clicked on rewarded ads, so I want to have an ad inside the other app, right? So the expectation level is just different. So TikTok and Reddit, to a smaller extent, are way more UGC driven. At the same time, if you find out something that works on TikTok, that also works on the Meta ads platform, like where Insta Reels are then prioritized. It works pretty well. The other way around, not so much, but from TikTok to Facebook, it works pretty well.
Okay. How do you manage your creative needs? Let's say you mentioned like on TikTok, you probably need a good agency,
absolutely,
to help you. Or but for Meta, you're running ads. You still produce your own ads. Probably, do you have an in-house team? How do you do that? Like, and how do you manage the need for iterations or velocity, the high velocity, let's say?
Right. So about creative direction, let's put it this way. There is a few concepts that are working evergreen. Number one, you actually showcase your game. I mean,
gameplay.
It's almost radical to suggest that these days with all these, altered gameplay.
Crazy idea. Okay.
Wow. So, and then when you talk about, misleads, right now it's popular, these gates mechanics, right? Like you choose between X2 of your soldiers or creatures that run through one gate, or plus 10 individual units or something, and you choose constantly. It's just quick decision making and outsmarting as a viewer the ad that is shown, assuming that was done by a normal person, right? So that's a very popular concept. Then fill in the words. That can be even done with games that are not word games. It's just if they are thematically strong, then that works as well. So there's a few evergreen concepts, like this word thing, that you can always deploy. And let's face it, typically what creative directors nowadays are doing is they camp the Meta Ads library, the Google Ads library, and see what their competitors are doing. They use tools like App Magic to look into their competitors and their ad portfolio, what generates a lot of impressions and stuff like that. And then it's just about adaptation to your own game graphics. Sometimes more than others. And then, of course, you rely on the expertise of external consultants and agencies that just have a way bigger scope of what they have seen working and not working, both as a concept and also in terms of job. Right? There's agencies that specialize in certain channels. You probably have also like a higher focus. For example, on TikTok, that over
we work a lot with UGC, to be honest.
Yeah.
It might be because we do not have too many games as clients, to be honest.
Right.
Many of our clients are traditional apps, marketplaces, dating, all sorts of things. And here we use a lot of UGC created content, actually. Very little AI still. So we automate a lot of processes. We have a lot of production going on in AI. But compared to what we put into UGC, it's still kind of little, I would say.
Right. And when we do this catch-all phrase UGC, even there you have like so many different, concepts that you can play around with, right? Like as a recommendation, like, oh my God, I'm so in love with this app. Or you have it like street style interviews that are obviously staged. And so you have so many ways to play around with just one type, basically, of advertisement. And yeah, you have a lot of diversity in the agencies, but also what I have to say sometimes as a business owner is you do not know how good certain agencies are compared to their public image. So it really is helpful to engage with people in direct contact and just snip them out a little bit,
Yeah.
have the recommendations, and also
I can say something about that. It
yeah.
really depends on that individual person that you get assigned, like
Mm,
from that agency. So it's maybe the perception is the agency didn't do a good job, but in the end of the day, it was this 1 or 2 person
right.
team that was sitting on your job that was maybe not good or didn't identify with the project whatsoever, right? Or they had personal
Yeah.
problems. You never know. But the agency still might do a good job, right? In
Yeah.
general. So I've seen this a couple of times. So as an agency owner, I must admit, you really need to take care of your people, that they are A, skilled, and B, in a good mood.
Yeah,
That
of
they
course.
really
Yeah.
that they really love what they're doing and the
Yeah.
clients that they get assigned and so on, right? So
Right.
it needs to be 100% match. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
will always fail.
Yeah, I'm always in favor to have like direct communication between the stakeholders and the ones that are executing. All right, even if they are in different companies technically, but they need to be feeling as part of the process and seeing that their work matters, and also their expertise shines. Right. So the girl that did the TikTok stuff for us, she was living on TikTok basically, right? She had like 3 own TikTok channels for her private stuff, and then made the stuff for us as well. And
Okay,
obviously
nice.
that's a perfect match,
Yeah,
right? Even though you
better.
would be like, oh, a 23-year-old girl, what does she know about Gladiator? I mean, the original movie came out before she was even born, right? But yeah.
Dude, my wife is 23, so you can tell me.
Okay. There you go. There you go.
Back to creatives.
Yeah.
How long do you keep creatives alive? Like, do you have a system when you say, okay, we have to turn this off? This doesn't work anymore. Do you have like benchmarks that you
Yeah.
follow along? Do you have one key metric that you look at and everything you ignore everything else? What's your approach?
Okay. So in the age of margin bidding, the key metric is, does it generate the margin that you bid for? Or is the campaign dying? Like, do the installs just go down from that creative? Do the impressions go down? So the algorithms have figured this out largely for you. If you run something like brand awareness campaign, MAI campaigns, or something like this, I would look at the repetition rate. That's especially true for Meta. Meta campaigns tend to die, and that is not because your creative is fatiguing. It's more like how Facebook allocates users to you. It's at least that's my theory. Okay, I hope that someone at some point in the comments will correct me. But the way I understand is Facebook. In the very, very beginning of the campaign, tries to figure out very quickly who is your user by exposing to different sort of users, like different audiences, and then see who has the strongest reaction rate, and then confirms that all happens in the first minutes to hours of a campaign, and then it assigns to you a user pool, a potential user pool. And it tries to fill that against its own projections. And if that user pool is at some point depleting because you have already a lot of conversions, or these users do not tend to be actually the ones that you kind of want to, the amount of installs go down because the repeating rate goes up and the CPI goes too high for satisfying the ROAS goal or the bidding goal, etc. Yeah. So and then what every marketer kind of knows is Facebook campaigns, I need to restart every 2 weeks, or every 3 weeks, depending on the budget. Really high-powered campaigns, like where you spend a lot, maybe even run campaigns only for a few days and then need to repeat them, or you take that creative off and bring it back later, like after a month again or something like. So you have more this recycling movement. So this is like how Facebook operates, and from my experience, like 2-3 years ago, that's also how Moloko operated. Moloko is this sort of meta buyer. They buy from AppLab and inventory. They buy Iron Source, etc.
DSP,
based on their own. Yeah, exactly. So I just try to avoid.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Um,
We have so many acronyms in our talk
yeah,
already.
exactly. So then the typical behavior, or the first key indicator of a campaign having fatigue. It's not really fatigue, but is you have just a high repetition rate of that ad, of that asset, actually.
The frequency, you mean?
Frequency. Yeah, exactly. So if it goes above 5, okay, maybe that one has run its course for this moment, and maybe that one needs to be pushed out and put in. I'm not so much about channel specific advice. It's just you need to keep that in mind when you run certain channels. I'm more thinking about placement optimization. So you can, within the same campaign, you can exchange things, or you just move that same concept into a different placement, right? So you go from landscape to portrait. You go from feed to reel or something like this, and test out corresponding to the metrics that you expect or want to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you use any, let's say, in the optimization of the campaigns and creatives, do you use any sort of prediction models, predict the LTV, whatsoever, or do you just look at click-through rates, IPM, ROAS?
Yeah, I mean, these are the fundamental metrics. It's like I can fantasize about projected LTV, and then the live ops team puts in an update that completely destroys all of that, right?
Is it a common problem in games?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
It's I mean, it can destroy it upwards or downwards, right? It
Yeah,
doesn't,
sure. Yeah.
obviously.
It just doesn't match the original idea.
Exactly. That's what I meant. So it's also like a matter of spend. It's a matter of how far in the future you delay your profit. So as I said initially, like I have such a short window. I want the money that I spent this month, I want it back basically in the months thereafter, right? After the payment. So I do not need these projected LTVs because I do not operate with the budgets in my own companies right now. You need, especially if you have more fiduciary duty, like public companies, and in due diligence, you need to kind of evaluate what the campaign spent from back then is worth now and potentially in the future. To determine the value of your company, to determine how much cash flow you will have at some point. So there it becomes increasingly important. But like I said, I believe, like, let's look at the state of the world just 3 years ago and to today. Entire markets are gone, or let's say, like politically gone, but also from the ad network side gone, from regulatory things gone, etc. So a projection, a predicted LTV is always assuming the things do not change, but the
It's
things
rather
do
linear
change.
developments.
Yeah, exactly. So will you keep up this ARPDAU level for forever? Average revenue per daily active user. Yeah. Will you keep that until your projection ends, or will that be impacted by something else? Be it out of your own design decisions, or be it from an outside
External
force.
factors.
Yeah, exactly. So you cannot predict that, right? So
let's say to wrap it up, basically for independent gaming studios, it's way too much time invested versus actual output, and rather focus on a fast return instead.
No, you definitely should have it, right? Just for sleeping well. You should at least have some tool that has some rough prediction of something, but don't over leverage yourself. Right?
Yeah, it's like this old saying, like the money that is not on your bank account is not your money, right? So
yeah, exactly that.
Pretty much the same. So only play with money that you actually have on the account.
Yeah, maybe I'm a bit too risk averse for that.
Yeah,
it could be a bit
German influence.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Maybe one last question about the future of gaming. I mentioned it at the very beginning with the LLM integration into games. Have you thought about such things? How do you see that? Will that happen? Is it a cool thing, or am I completely off with this idea?
No, I believe we will. So right now we are at an intermediary step where the models are refined, and I think they are already on a very, very good level in terms of output compared to what you put in. People will get smarter about what they prompt the networks with, the neural networks, LLMs, whatever you want to call them. So people get more educated about that, but I think we will transition more into a voice assisted method there. We saw that with Siri, with Alexa, etc. These voice assistants already, and I think that becomes more and more an everyday thing, even for people who are not digital natives. And in the end, all of these assistants, they are products, and these products are supposed to make money for their inventors and the companies that run them, especially because of the computing power that is required to actually run these things. So, and they have not figured out yet a good business model that scales very well. So right now, would you as a like normal user, not as the agency owner that you are, would you pay for a subscription of 20 euros to ChatGPT? Probably not. They try this, and I don't see a mass adoption of this. So what I think will happen eventually is that you pay per result, meaning affiliate.
That's a very weird speculation.
Yeah, exactly.
I get against it.
But I think that's the only way that I can kind of it. The ad is basically inside the LLM, basically. You can call it affiliate. But affiliate back then was like a sign up thing, right? But it will be like more automated. That the advertisement will be part of the results of the LLM. And if
but this is like the future of LLMs in particular. But I thought like the integration into gaming, like
okay.
Right. So if you design a new game, would you integrate LLM in some way so that I'm on the go designing my levels of what I described in the beginning? Is it something? Or that I'm interacting with the avatars? Is it already existing?
Right now we are at a very superficial level. That means localization definitely. If you're a translator, get a job. I mean,
sure.
A different one, right? Obviously.
That was neat.
No, I am friends with a lot of translators. I mean, I don't mean bad for them, but it's not a very monetizable skill going forward, unless you find a very, very specific niche where you have regulatory problems with LLMs. But in terms of a generation, we see the models getting better at consistency in style, and especially platforms like Runware. They have day zero integration for most of these models of the different developers of algorithms. Really great stuff. Really great. Runware. I can only recommend them. I'm not paid, not sponsored, anything. It's just I'm generally thinking they are onto something. Then you have for game studio specifically a layer and scenario. So these two, they want to make game ready assets, and they are on a good path as well. But when it comes to hyper personalization, and that's what you said initially, right? How do I talk to an NPC? Does the NPC react to me in some sort of way? That's more a game design issue and the predicted outcome of what the user actually would ask the NPC. Like 90% of the conversations, you can actually preface already the answer of the opponent, right? Not opponent, the conversation partner.
Yeah.
So in that way, does it make sense from a technological complexity point of view? If 90% is the same answer anyway, just put it in. It's much easier to do that. So the technical complexity and in game design, in unexpected outcomes, people still get stuck in the landscape of an MMO because the game designer and QA did not predict the user ever going there, because there's no point in going there, but the player did it anyway.
Of course.
So and now imagine you have like weird conversations with NPCs that can derail very, very quickly. So I think it's more the human hesitance that blocks that in its unpredictability. In that specific example that you just
Okay, interesting.
brought about.
I'm very curious where this goes. Okay.
I think the adult industry will figure out quickest what's going on.
Yeah,
there.
sure.
I mean,
right
they'll-
after the porn industry, I mean.
I meant them.
Yeah,
I called them adult for
Okay.
for your US audience. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, we are aligned here. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Manu, was great talking to you.
Absolutely.
Some nice insights here. To the audience, if you have questions, comments, if you see things differently, ping us. If you heard some tool or have questions about the benchmarks and can't find it yourself, reach out. Manu and I are always available. You can find us on LinkedIn, obviously, and it would be great if you would share, like, comment this pod. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
We're here to boost your growth, marketing tips, fun and chats. Tune in.